Hey there, I'm Lloyd Dobler. Welcome to my podcast and welcome back for Chapter 3. Last chapter I said, the master acts without doing anything. Okay, Lao Tzu, fine, but have you tried that while fascism is trending? Honestly, it sounds impossible, especially in a world where Trump is sending the National Guard to invade our own cities. And we've got Steve Bannon out here saying that Trump should get a third term. Yeah, against the Constitution, a third term. In March of 2025, Bannon said, quote, "We have 5 or 6 different alternatives to make sure President Trump is president on the afternoon of January 20th, 2029. And that's a quote from Newsweek, by the way, not some college sophomore's Adderall-fueled Substack. And Trump, when asked if he was joking about serving longer than the Constitution allows, told reporters, "No, I'm not joking." That was Reuters. So yeah, acts without doing anything sounds cute in a meme, but how do you pull off this non-doing when fascism is literally testing the guardrails? Is a non-doing day still wisdom, or is it privilege dressed up as enlightenment? Is non-doing wisdom, or is it privilege dressed up as enlightenment? Let your subconscious mind wrestle with that question even as we move right into the reading. This is the Tao Te Ching, Chapter 3. If you overesteem great individuals, people become powerless. If you overvalue possessions, people begin to steal. The master leads by emptying people's minds and filling their cores, by weakening their ambition and toughening their resolve. They help people lose everything they know, everything they desire, and create confusion in those who think they know. Practice non-doing, and everything will fall into place. That was Chapter 3 of the Tao Te Ching. And not doing can seem passive, like you're being told to sit this one out. But this Taoist concept of non-doing, the Tao calls it Wu Wei, is more accurately understood as effortless doing, action without forcing. I would say it's the art of letting an action possess you. It's not, as some stereotype those on the spiritual path, just sitting on a meditation mat, fingering mala beads all day. Although it's a great start to every single day, a meditation practice. But it's carrying that practice off of the meditation mat and into our everyday lives. And everyday life in the United States now involves ICE and the National Guard invading American cities. So, listener, what is your Wu Wei in the face of this modern empire, where ICE raids your neighbor's house and the National Guard rolls through downtown like they're filming a bad reboot of Red Dawn? There's no single answer. For some, it's filming everything and posting the receipts online. For others, it's legal defense funds, street medics, mutual aid. For others still, it's running a poetry slam in a police precinct parking lot. And sometimes it's that woman in the polka dot dress standing 10 feet from an armored vehicle during an ICE raid in Lower Manhattan, handbag on her arm, flipping off the cops like she's blessing them with her middle fingers. That's Wu Wei. That's not rage. That's alignment. That's the Tao saying, "Namaste, you mother fascists." So here's my challenge to you and to me. Can we act by not acting and still give fascism a one-way ticket to the trash heap of history? Some of history's great changemakers got Wu Wei right, even if they never called it that. Rosa Parks didn't start a movement by standing up. She started it by sitting the hell down. That's not defiance. That's divine posture. Thich Nhat Hanh walked through war zones like a mindfulness app with no bugs, just quiet updates on compassion and breathing. Fred Hampton organized breakfast programs and revolutions in the same breath, proving you can feed people and still terrify the state before you've even finished your breakfast. Mario Savio preached about throwing your body on the gears of the machine like a prophet with a megaphone and an overdue midterm. Audre Lorde, the poet warrior who turned self-care into a political act and made truth sound like jazz with brass knuckles. Greta Thunberg is proof that silence at a microphone can make oil executives sweat through their Patagonia vests. And Colin Kaepernick, he took a knee so the country can finally stand up, and half of America lost its damn mind just for demanding that we all recognize that Black Lives Matter. All of these people didn't manufacture momentum, they simply met a moment. They let the moment do the heavy lifting. That's Wu Wei. Same current, different vessels. And even now, I'm catching myself. I mean, I just read to you from chapter 3, which says, if you overesteem great individuals, people become powerless. Did I miss my own memo? I mean, I did just rattle off a list of heroes like I was auditioning for a civil rights remix of We Didn't Start the Fire. So maybe I overstepped the Tao a little. Because the second you start putting people on pedestals, you start looking up instead of in. You turn liberation into some kind of fandom. Maybe that's the trick of this empire. It keeps us worshiping icons so we forget we're all wired for the same voltage. Rosa Parks didn't manifest courage out of nowhere. It was already circulating in the crowd around her, in every person who'd had enough. She just stopped fighting the current. And maybe the Tao's doing that right now, like that woman in that polka dot dress, holding up her middle finger like it's a tuning fork for divine alignment. That's not rage. That's resonance. That's the Tao flipping off this empire through a human being. So maybe the point isn't to keep retweeting the past. It's to notice the Tao moving through the present moment. Because the Tao doesn't need more statues, it needs more stillness. More people willing to sit down right where they are and let the river move through them. So, right now, wherever you are, in your car, or on the train with headphones on, or in your house, take a breath with me. In through the nose, and release through the nose. Keep that breath going. Let go of the need to interpret. Just feel your own pulse, your own heartbeat. You didn't force it, and yet, there it is. That's the Tao. The thing doing the thing when you stop pretending you're in charge. Here's the tricky part. When you stop forcing, things might get messier before they align. That's where I am. I'm not on the other side of this. Things are messy for me right now. But it's not failure. It's fucking compost. The Tao isn't going to fix your life. It composts it, turning old ambitions into a rich soil for something truer. So if you, like me, are living through a moment in your life where it feels like you're being rearranged by a baseball bat, maybe that's the Tao feng shuiing your inner ego. All right, one more breath in. And knees. Unclench your jaw, your politics. Let it fall into place or let it fall apart first. Same difference. And I'll see you next time for Chapter 4. From the edge of the empire and the center of the self, this is the Tao of Lloyd. And one program note before you go. The Tao of Lloyd is my creative experiment in staying human during these crazy times. And if this experiment is moving something in you, a laugh, maybe a breath, maybe a tiny revolution, consider supporting this project on patreon.com/Tao of Lloyd.